Are there any tips or other ways that you would be able to give me or the rest of the room in ways that you've increased the membership in your camp programs? I liked what you said about like listening to the masses and staying silent. That's something we've struggled with for quite a while. I work with a lot of men. I'm the only woman in my unit who are very headstrong and very unwilling to listen to me or other people who have differing opinions. And I just wanted to see if there was any other way that I could implement as a woman in my program to help them listen a lot more than they do, or if there are other completely different ways besides listening that you had not mentioned. I just wanted to see if there was anything else that could be added to that.
Great question. So I will say in general, there's a reason that we'll listen. So maybe first my one suggestion was give them the reason to listen. And that is whether you're trying to increase participation in something, membership in something, people actually participate, whatever it might be, the reason we listen is that we become the solution. So I'll give you another example that hopefully helps you. In Girl Scouting, we have people that come and actually financially support to make so many programs possible. When I first came to Girl Scouts, I would go out with some of my team members, and we might have a 45-minute meeting scheduled with somebody who was potentially going to support us. And I'd walk out of the room, and I'm like, we just talked for 42 out of the 45 minutes. Because why? We have a lot to say. We do a lot of amazing things at Girl Scouts. But all we did was left them with just a whole lot of what we did. When we flipped that and we said, 80% of the time we're intentionally going to listen, the reason we wanted to listen is because we knew we could help together solve a gap that they wanted to. So when we would say to them, what are some of the biggest things that you're working on? What are the biggest things that you're trying to accomplish? And let them talk for 30 of those 45 minutes, it helped us understand where their pain points were. We knew we were the solution to that. But when we were able to actually tie what we do to help them, they were way more interested. So in answer to your question, it's like part of it is going out and listening to go, how do you, through the program you're in, how are you actually the solution to some things that people are actually trying to fix? Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to get girls flag football started at my town's high school because I've been playing for around 7 years now, and I have to drive an hour and a half multiple times a week just to play. Do you know how I can get my town to more listen to me about it? Because I've been going to them, bringing up the idea, and I have over 78 girls who want to do it in my school alone, and I'm in the middle school. And I've listened to them and their concerns about it, and shown them that their concerns can be easily fixed with certain other things that we could do. Do you know what I could do personally for them to listen? And
so clarify again, just sorry, on the what are you looking to
add girls flag football to my town because the closest league is an hour and a half.
Okay. Oh wow. Yes. So breaking it down into steps. We were actually just talking about this earlier. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish? What are some steps to get there? And then who can help you along each of those ways? So often we try to go totally to the end goal, like this is what we want to accomplish. It's coming backwards from a goal and breaking down the initial steps to say, how can I accomplish step 1, and then step 2, and step 3? And I think helping break that down will involve others along the way, because you can't go it alone. It's like I said, most of the time to really achieve the success of what you're trying to do, it's going to take other folks coming and doing it with you.
Yeah, I've been trying to find more people to do it. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy to talk to you more afterwards, too.
My question is, were there any challenges when you decided that you wanted to switch from like different career paths, like teacher to working in like customer service or to Girl Scouts? The reason I'm asking is because I'm not sure what I want to do for my career, and if I do decide to do one thing, I'm not sure I'll like know the signs that I want to do something else, or whether or not I'm happy and want to stay there. Do you have any ideas?
I am so glad you asked this question, because it's something that I actually say all the time to our Girl Scouts. So this question, Let me start with this. You all get pretty major burdens on your shoulders that start already in middle school. And here's how it goes. What do you think you want to do when you grow up? And there's this feeling like, oh my gosh, whatever I decide, I've got to do the rest of my life. Which is why I do like sharing with folks. My identical twin has stayed in pretty much the same career path her whole life. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But for most of us, life gives twists and turns. So my answer to you is do that sampling before you specialize. It's why I initially chose elementary education. I loved working with youth. I thought this is what I want to do. And what I tell girls is don't think what you choose you have to do the rest of your life. Go and follow the passion of what today is calling you, and then be open along the way when other things might step in. So even my counselor must have saw more in me than I did, because I was first going to go straight for my master's in education. And my counselor at the university said, you might want to work a few years and then decide like what you want to get your master's in. You might do it in school administration. You might do. Nowhere on my radar was that I was going to get a master's in business. So choose what you're passionate about from good sampling, go for it. And then be really open. So back to the question, things happen. And you do know when that spark comes into your life. Like when I was at US Airways, I actually thought it was going to be a part-time job. When I got there, I realized how much we connected families together through air travel. I became very passionate about, if you really think about what happens in air travel and think it all the way through, I had no clue I would have a passion on that, which drove me to want to do training and then eventually the sales and marketing to really be able to have. So being open to that, and then the transition isn't so hard because you kind of go, well, what do I need to do to make that change from this to this? So thank you for the question, and I would encourage all of you to take that little bit of burden off your shoulder and go, what am I excited about today? And then again, know that along the way it might change.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, sorry, my name's Chloe. Do you have any advice on like stepping up and finding your voice to like take the first step on like what you want to do for your career? I've also have trouble like finding what I want to do in my life and taking that first step, and just like gaining the confidence to do that. Do you just have any advice on like stepping out, getting out of your comfort zone to go and like do things to step into it?
Yeah. So some of it is a little bit of that like that internal search, what brings me joy and happiness. So like for me, I learned pretty early on, I had to know I was helping to change lives. Like if that wasn't something I was doing, I knew I wouldn't get that same joy and fulfillment. And so I think of people who say they get Sunday blues every Sunday. I've been pretty fortunate. I don't get Sunday blues. And I think one of the reasons, doesn't mean that I like eager every single day, but I think it's because what do I most look for? So I would say for your own, like what brings you joy and happiness? That's a starting point. Because for some people, they're like, I love math, I love this, and if I'm doing something in this area, okay, well then that gives you something to then search for and to go out and find more about. Talk to mentors. Today you're going to see different mentors. So let's just say you were somebody like, I love math, and I would talk to people that you know have that as their love as well. They're awesome to give advice on things that might interest you, but that's the best way to figure it out is what's going to give you joy and happiness so that you know what you're doing is going to give that fulfillment.
Thank you.
Yep.
How hard is it to be the CEO of Girl Scouts and make decisions?
Yeah, like really hard. I'm going to use Heather as an example here. So every day, Girl Scouts are at the center of every decision she makes. All of you in this room, you're at the center. There are a lot of things across her desk every day that she needs to tackle. And it's the short term, what's impacting today, and it's the vision, where are we headed long term. So I know that because I lived that world. And I will say now, as Girl Scouts of the USA, I think about it for the whole nation and the world. You heard Girl Scout overseas. So we think of girls everywhere. What decisions are we making today that's going to impact what Girl Scouting is doing today? And where are we thinking longer term, where we must be 3, 5, and 10 years from now to make sure we're still where girls need us to be for them. Juliet Gordon-Low, 113 years ago, that's what she was thinking. And so we owe it to her to keep thinking that way. So rewarding and hard. But great question.
Thank you.
want to make sure I'm keeping us on time, so I think we have time for a few more questions. I'll always look to my great MC to tell me.
Hi, it's me again.
Yes.
I had thought up a few more questions while I was watching other people come up with questions. I wanted to ask if you have a personal and or generalized definition of an effective leader in its entirety. I know you went into you went into a specific from a listening standpoint, but I wanted to see if you had any other tips that you personally have witnessed working or that you personally use in your daily life as the CEO of GSUSA.
Yep. Another great question. So I tell every individual that I have the honor to hire and join our team this very thing about leadership. It is actually not what you know that will make you successful. It's admitting what you don't know. So I don't expect anybody I hire to know everything, and I tell them that. What I do expect is that they share with me maybe an area that they're not as confident about to help surround them with the people who do know. So I would say that's for all of us in everything we do. Often we think, okay, here's what I know, here's what I do. It's like, where do we step back and go in this particular topic, in this particular instance, in this particular discussion? Where am I admitting what I don't know? And then how am I intentionally going and filling that gap so that I can close that knowledge gap for myself and rely on others to do the work with me?
Yes. Sorry, I'm
Her
taking
notebook's going to be
notes.
full today.
Just a few more questions.
She's like, why I got the mic and nobody's at the other one?
What is the biggest challenge or multiple challenges that come with being a leader of such a large organization?
There's a lot of different voices, and you're never going to get 100%. That is one of the biggest challenges. So are the things that, again, we know, we put the Girl Scout at the middle of that decision, but there's going to be a lot of opinions. And we often need to get to a place where we have 75, 80% that are in alignment, and the recognition that you can't wait for 100%. It just will actually stall whatever decision needs to be made. And I'm just somebody who always shares examples because I think it helps illustrate, so I'm going to give you a really quick example. Again, when I got to my local council, we had a woman that wanted to donate a goat farm to us. And it was beautiful acreage along the river. So we brought together a group of people, and people were like, well, of course we have to say yes. This is a gift. And I remember going, okay, but no, we don't immediately say yes. Again, listening. Where we came full circle was there anything we were going to do on that goat farm that we couldn't already offer at one of our camps? And if the answer was no, why were we taking on an additional property with different maintenance costs? Our resources were limited. We were going to splinter our resources. So it felt like we would do less at more. And so full circle, we came around, 80% of us were like, this is not the right decision for our girls. 20% like, but it's still a beautiful property. We did not take the gift of the property. To this day, that 20%, I'm still in touch with so many people, they'll go, remember that time when? And we almost did that. Thank goodness the 80% of you convinced the rest of us. So again, to not wait for the 100% is hard, but sometimes you've got to be able to make that decision based upon the facts that you have at that moment in time.
Yes, thank you.
And we don't own a goat farm at that council and everybody's happy.
Yeah, no. I think that was all. My next question after that was going to be, how would you overcome these challenges? But I think you already answered
There you go,
that.
look.
No. Is there anybody else who has any questions? I don't want to take time away from other people. Okay.
So my name's Arna, and I have a question about, like, you talked about, like, listening in your speech, and my question is that, like, anyone can say it's like, oh, I'm listening to you, but, like, how do you really effectively listen when you don't sometimes agree with people's opinions? I do a lot of speech and debate, and it's kind of hard to, like, you know, like disagree respectfully from someone's opinions without, like, how do you really, like, effectively listen is what I'm trying to say.
So step one is to catch yourself. Are you listening and nodding your head and not really listening? So often people listen to respond. I'm going to listen to what you're saying because as soon as you take a breath, I'm going to insert my opinion. Am I really listening to listen? Because often when I listen to listen, and debates are a really good example, there's actually often a middle ground. And the only way you get there is by a willingness to listen. And so the most common phrase that I say is important is, tell me more. When that person says something, instead of getting ready to cut it off and respond, get in the habit of saying, tell me more. Because often there is more. And then to build that respectful, you also do have a voice and you have an opinion on the subject. If suddenly you're hearing things and you're like, wait, I didn't know that. You owe it now to go do a little bit more research. Because sometimes we want to just listen to really loud voices. And if you're learning something from that debate or listening that makes you go, wait, I just need to go do a little bit more of my own research, own that too. And be able to say, you know what, I want to go research that a little bit more and have a greater understanding.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, I think one more you said? I think we have one more. Yeah, go ahead. We'll take one last and then, okay, we'll take two last.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question. My question is what advice would you give to girls who are trying to earn big awards, like bronze, silver, or gold awards, or even journey awards? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, great question. What are you passionate about doing? So when I was in school, I remember having to do a thesis one time for my master's, and I had the greatest advice from my advisor. He's like, Bonnie, don't pick something you already know everything about. It really won't become that interesting. Pick something that you actually want to learn more about. So I would say whether it's bronze, silver, or gold, don't automatically pick something that you're like, oh, I know all about that. Or what are you picking something that you're like, I care so much about this that I want to take the steps to help make that happen. That will make it a fun project for you, one that feels really rewarding, and one that you're going to be so proud of when you complete it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. And this is our last question, and then I'll be here through our lunch, so I can't wait to mingle with all of you a little bit more.
So you said that to try and practice listening more, but I personally have the problem of when I'm listening, people will say, since I'm not talking as much, I'm not caring about what they're saying, and I find it's hard for me to find that kind of in the middle of where I'm not overly cutting people off and when I'm not dead silent with a conversation.
Oh, wow, you just brought up something that I would say every adult in this room would agree with you, that it's a balance, because it is the balance of active listening and the ability to show that you have an interest in what the individual is saying. And sometimes a good way to express that is even acknowledgement. Wow, that is so interesting. I didn't know that, authentically. And also the ability to ask a follow-up question, to say, you mentioned this. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? So that allows them to know that you are authentically listening. And again, for your ability then to balance the listening and you having your voice in that conversation as well.
And kind of going off what someone else said, when you are talking to someone and let's say you don't know much about that subject, but it's more of a debate standpoint, would you recommend either trying to get more into it, even though it's more of a debate, or would you try and change the topic of the conversation or switch it around?
Yeah, so I guess circumstances have a lot to do with it, but I would say be an informed debater. Back when I was in high school, I really thought I wanted to go into journalism. And one of the things I loved about journalism back then, you had to have 3 verifiable sources before you could put anything into print. We don't sort of live that way anymore. But I would say that being an informed debater, to make sure if you are going to have that voice, if you are going to say something, if you catch yourself and go, I don't really know enough about this, that's the due diligence to go back and go, I want to learn a little bit more, so that when I am debating or discussing or having this, that I'm coming with a voice that I can actually say, well, I looked into this and I read this and I know this. So it's the willingness to go find out more. Oftentimes I'll just hear people say, well, so-and-so said. That doesn't actually sometimes make that a verifiable. It's going and doing a little bit of research on your own.
And last question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Do you think that your teaching experience had helped you with this position right now, or with your business and marketing position?
Yes, and yes. So I would say life is a lot like a room full of first graders. And I had 34 of them. So there's times I reflect back and go, that really helped really prepare me for everything. And then to your question, so many transferable skills that we all learn along the way that we can apply into what we do next. And that was that earlier question about, was it hard to transition? No, because you realize what you're learning and growing and doing and how that can apply to something else. So all of my past experiences, I'm so grateful for, because I think they blend together to really help me in this current role. Thank you. Thank you all.
Sorry, I'm breaking the rules a little bit. I'm going to sneak in one last one, but I promise I'll be brief. I think I can speak on behalf of everyone in the room that I am excited for the future of the movement because of your leadership and your vision. And I know that the list is very long, but I'd like to know what's one thing that excites you about the future of Girl Scouts.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So there's 25 million girls, kindergarten through 12th grade, out there who need us. Today we have 1.1 million. We have a long way to go. So what excites me is the future we're planning for 2030 and beyond. Doesn't mean we wait till 2030. It means we're going to be doing things together every year leading up to it. So what excites me the most is understanding where some of the biggest obstacles stand today and what we're going to proactively do to actually break down those obstacles. And we're going to do it together. I was with Heather a little bit yesterday, and I told her, I said, this council is a shining star. So when we're looking for some early adopters to help us get where we need to go, you guys are going to help us get to where we need to go, because girls need us. So that's what I'm most excited about.